Okay, this figure, not much of the special thing to know. The only thing that you want to know is that it takes approximately 9 seconds. So after we swallow the food, it takes approximately 9 seconds for the food to go through the esophagus to reach your stomach. And in order to go through the esophagus to reach your stomach, you have to go through two sphincters. One is called upper esophageal sphincter, one is the lower esophageal sphincter. The lower esophageal sphincter, if you remember anatomy, it is also known as the cardiac sphincter. It is where the acid reflux that burn here that gives you the heartburn. There's not much to know other than the name of the lower esophageal sphincter and the time that takes for the food to travel down. As the food goes down the esophagus, it uses peristalsis. This is the swallowing mechanism. So what happened is that after we finish chewing the food is called bolus. Bolus is the food that when we are ready to swallow until it reaches the stomach. When the food reaches the stomach, we do not call it bolus. When the food reaches the stomach, we call it chyme. C-H-Y-M-E, chyme. We call it chyme. So what happens is that when we swallow, our tongue will push the food to the back to reach the oral pharynx, and also the soft palate will also be pushed to close the nasal cavity, so that the food will not go to our nasal cavity. And then as the food is being pushed to the oral pharynx by the tongue, then you will also, by gravity, mechanically by gravity, the food will push down the esophagus to cover the, not the esophagus, the epiglottis. The food will push down the epiglottis by gravity mechanically. And then you will close the glottis. Glottis is the opening of your trachea. One question, what kind of cartilage is in the, what kind of cartilage made out of epiglottis? Well, I'll let you think about this. I'll let you know in the next video what kind of cartilage made out of epiglottis. And as we know that choking occurs, why? When we want to speak, well, look at this here. When we're swallowing food, we close the trachea, meaning that when we swallow food, we do not breathe. We do not breathe. But when we speak, what does it mean speaking? Speaking is actually breathing out. When we speak, we are breathing out so that the air coming out from our lung, it will vibrate the two vocal cords inside the larynx, and then to produce sound so that air can come out. If we speak while we are swallowing, so that we breathe out, and then the air will force the epiglottis to open. In this case, food particle or water can go in the trachea. When you go into trachea, then you trigger the coughing reflex to try to remove the food or water from the trachea. So that's the choking. Again, as I mentioned before, where's the coughing center? Coughing center is not in the trachea, it's not in your lung. Coughing center is in your brainstem. So this is the brief overview of the anatomy of your stomach. So the esophagus and then leads to this upper esophageal sphincter, aka cardiac sphincter. And then we have this lower end. The exit of it is called pyloric sphincter, and then exit is called duodenum. So the question is, why do we need sphincter at the entrance and at the exit of the stomach? At the exit, you may think about it, okay, that's reasonable because we want to fully digest the food before we pass the food down to duodenum, so that we need a sphincter here to keep the stomach closed before it let go the food to the duodenum. So we want to fully digest the food, then we go to duodenum. What about the entrance opening? Why do we need an entrance opening? Well, the thing is that, as I mentioned before, the stomach can have a mechanical digestion, meaning that the stomach can contract and relax. We call it churning. Churning is the term for describing the mechanical digestion of the stomach. So during the contraction and relaxation of the stomach, or during the churning, this has to be closed. Cardiac sphincter is closed so that it keeps the food inside the stomach instead of backflowing to the esophagus. So that's the reason why we need a sphincter at the entrance of the stomach. And then the top dome part we call fundus. Fundus is an anatomical term describing this kind of top, a dome shape on top of an organ. Where do you see fundus? Well, if you remember reproductive system, you also find fundus in the uterus. Uterus also have a fundus. And then the body part secrete mucus, pepsinogen, and hydrochloric acid. Mucus coat the lining of the stomach so that it protects the lining of the stomach from being corroded by hydrochloric acid. In the thin layer of mucus, the mucus contains bicarbonate ion that helps to neutralize the hydrochloric acid. And then the last one is called antrum. Antrum also secrete mucus, pepsinogen, and gastrin. If you remember your anatomy, this part, the part that is closest to the pyloric sphincter, is called pyloric region. The pyloric region, we have the famous bacteria, Helicobacter pylorus. This bacteria, they enjoy living in the highly acidic environment. They cannot be killed by our HCl. They actually live happily here. What they do is that they literally drill a hole into your stomach. They are not really drilling a hole, they are eating the protein of your stomach. Just like other bacterial infection, because they want to make a living. They just want to eat you. So similar, they are living here to eat your stomach. When they drill a hole and eat your stomach, they expose the stomach tissue to the hydrochloric acid. That causes stomach ache, really strong. It's very painful. And because of this, I remember my brother has said in the past, so he went to see doctor, and then the doctor diagnosed that he has this, and then he got the prescription of antibiotics. There are antibiotics that can kill this bacteria, and after that he has been trouble-free since then. And then that's the overview, brief review of your stomach. So now let's talk about segmentation. We know that after the food going through the stomach, it will go to the small intestine. The first segment of the small intestine is called duodenum. Duodenum is the first segment of it, and after this it will go to duodenum. And then after this, majority of small intestine, we can just call it ileum. And in the small intestine, they have a peristalsis. Of course, peristalsis, you can find peristalsis all along the GI tract to move the food forward. But in small intestine, it has a special form of GI tract movement. It is called segmentation. Segmentation is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the small intestine. But it is different from peristalsis. Peristalsis is to move the food forward. Segmentation, on the other hand, is to move the food forward and backward. To move the food forward and backward. Why? One is that as it contracts and relaxes, it actually gives the form of a mechanical digestion to the food, so that it increases the surface area of the food for the enzyme to work on it to digest the food. So it increases the surface area. Second function is that it increases the time that the food spends in the small intestine. Why is it important? When the food spends longer time to stay in the small intestine, then it increases the absorption time as well. So that's the main point. It increases the surface area so that the enzyme in the small intestine can digest it, and also it increases the time that stays in the small intestine so that the small intestine can have enough time to absorb all the nutrients digested by the enzyme.